is Arival again. I'm a practitioner of Kloud4academy. Today we are going to demonstrate how we can do the Kafka SSL setup with the Spring Boot latest version 3.2 in our local. Right? So we are not using Docker. So Kafka can be set up in multiple ways, like using Kafka Docker image, or you can install the Kafka. So I'm just installing the Kafka into Windows local. And when it goes to Kafka cluster, like Minikube, like single cluster in Kubernetes or in cloud computing, we will use setup like Strimzy kind of open source Kubernetes based Strimzy operators are there. We can use to set up the Kafka cluster. Another way is if you go to AWS, MSK is there where you can set up how many broker, how many zookeeper we can select, and we can set up that. I hope everybody knows about Kafka. So Kloud4academy, we are covering the Kafka as part of the AWS course, or Node.js, or Spring Boot Java. Any course we will be covering this Kafka setup and Kafka implementation. We will be showing that as part of the course we will be covering, right? So Kafka basically we will be using for asynchronous data transformation. So we will build asynchronous microservices. Asynchronous means when the data is coming in asynchronous way. It's a parallel kind of parallelism, data parallelism. We will be using Kafka, right? So Kafka, you guys knows what is broker. Broker means it's a broker. When you set up the Kafka cluster, how many brokers we want, and the broker will receive the message and it will store into the logs. Logs means it's a flat file system. It will be stored our data. For 7 days is a retention period. And then partition. The data will be partitioned. It will be every topic, the data will be partitioned, like multiple partition will be there, so that it's easy to partitioning and scaling and rebalancing. So let's say broker 1 is down and broker 2 automatically rebalancing, and we can get the message from that. It will up. So it never goes down when we are using the Kafka cluster, when we are data transformation we are doing. So the data will never lose that actually, because we are rebalancing the message and high availability, fault tolerance, resilience, everything we are handling in the Kafka, right? So now I'm going to show that single broker, even we can create multiple broker in our local also, like I'm going to create single broker, single zookeeper, and set up SSL certificate, how to generate SSL certificate, and then install and then Spring Boot 3.2 version will go there and install the Maven dependency, and then create a consumer, and which is receiving the message, and create the producer microservice which is sending the data to the Kafka topic, and building the consumer microservice which will receive from the message from the topic. So that's what where I'm going to show that, right? So I'm going to show the installation directory. Let's say you can copy the installation, like Kafka installation from Apache installation directory. So we have I'm using 2.12 version. Even you can use the latest above version also you can use. It won't be an issue. So you can go here. If you go here, bin directory will come. So bin directory, this is for Linux environment. If you go to Windows, you can find like consumer product producer, consumer, and then you can find topics. You can, when you are creating the topics, you have to use this bat file. When you are running the consumer, receive the Kafka without using a Spring Boot application, we can test that in the Kafka console. We can test our changes. We are sending them through the consumer, and then we are receiving through the producer, and we are receiving through the consumer, whether message are receiving or not. So those things we can test it before coming to our integrating our application. We can test it in the Kafka cluster itself, right? That's what this implementation shows that. I'm going to show that configuration. If I go to bin and then configuration, where you can see there are server configuration. This is a broker. If you create multiple broker, then we can renaming to server 1, server 2, server 3, like that. So the 3 brokers will be there. Zookeeper, if you want 2 zookeeper, then zookeeper 1 and zookeeper 2 we can create. These 2 fields we need to modify, and then client SSL.properties we need to create. This is for SSL kind of setup. We need to use that, right? So if I open server.property file, this is the nothing but broker. I'm going to show the broker file, that's a server.property. So I'm going to explain that how many brokers we can create as much as, like server 1, server 2, server 3 means broker 1, broker 2, broker 3. So we can create as much as we want brokers, and like this zookeeper also we can create. See, the main configuration is broker ID. If you want to give, you can give broker ID 1, 0. If the second broker number 2 means broker number 2, like that you can give. And here listener SSL colon 902 is a port number. If another broker means 903 we need to give. And this is default changes. Advertised listener like SSL colon localhost 902. Here we are giving localhost because we are running in our localhost, so that's the reason we are giving. Let's say we are setting the cluster in single cluster and minikube in our local, or in let's say in our, this is a skin in our AWS cloud. So Streamisy you can use. This is the operator, Streamisy operator. Streamisy. It's a free source, open source actually. Kafka is providing. There is no charge for that. Only storage AWS will charge for that. So Streamisy you can set up the Kafka cluster. Right? If you go to Kafka cluster, once we set up, and you can see this is the name of the service name and Kafka broker. Like that you have to give IP address. So because we are not IP address will change, right? So we are not, this is a service name, and plus this way we have to give the IP address. We have to give. Let's, if we go there, here we have to give like this, right? If it is cluster environment, since local I am giving like this. Okay. So these are the properties we need to configure. This is for SSL configuration, like what is certificate path, JKS, and password, and key password, and trust password, require TLS, JKS. These things we need to show. So how to generate certificate, I will tell you. The hosting the certificate, since a Windows environment, we should not put the C drive. From that we should not put. We have to put directly the folder name, and then this. Like if you go to temp folder, C drive, you can see C drive temp folder. C drive temp folder. If you see temp folder, so this folder I copy the certificate. These 4 certificates are there. That's the reason I am giving here. Path is giving here like this. Like this we have to give. Here also you have to give like this, right? So this is a way of certificate we have to configure. Other than that, all are default configuration. Here one more changes you need to do. There is a log directory. temp3 I created in the C drive. So like that you can create any directory and then you can give that. It's a log directory where our data will be stored in the cluster. Whatever data, it will be stored as a log file, log01. Log means, don't think that's application log. It's a file system kind of things. It will be stored like log files. If you store this consumer offset, if you open this, it will be store the data with index value. It will be stored, right? So that's the reason we are giving. If I go to Zookeeper, and next property is Zookeeper. I'm going to installation directory again. I'm going to installation Kafka installation. Here again going to config zookeeper.property. Here we will need this property also, we need to change. If you want multiple zookeeper, we can keep 2 zookeeper. If you put zookeeper should be odd number, broker should be even number. Zookeeper should be even number, broker should be odd number. Broker 3, zookeeper 2. Broker 5, zookeeper 2. Like that we can keep. Broker 7, zookeeper should be now 4. Like that we can create our cluster. See directory temp3, that folder you have to give the log directory, and port number, you can give any port number. So that's all about broker. And then client.ssl. If you go to client.ssl, you open the client.ssl. This is the client.ssl, same directory. You need to put the certificate path, client certificate. For accessing the client certificate, you need to create this local host number. That's it. That's all about SSL setup is required. And if you go to other like producer.property and all, it's a default. If you go to producer, when you are going for cluster, we need to change it, but here not required. If we say here producer, which will produce the message, right? So I'm just opening that. See localhost 902. We have to change the port number. Like that consumer.property also we need to change. Go here, consumer.property. Consumer.property, we are just opening the file. So here also port number you need to change. So these are the changes needs to be done as part of the SSL setup in Kafka, right? So once we done this setup, then we have to go to the Kafka directory. Like I'm already going to the directory installation bin Windows. Go to and we need to generate the certificate, right? Before going to that, first step is we need to generate the certificates. Please follow these steps. These are the commands we need to execute for generating the certificates. And this is you need to run the OpenSSL. Download the Windows OpenSSL command tool and run this command. And like that, this is also OpenSSL. Go to download the OpenSSL command Windows tool and then run this. On this key tool you can run in Java. It has to be installed. Java install, you can run this. So all these commands needs to be run in the same directory. So the certificate will be generated in the same directory, right? So when you are generating the certificate, the important point is localhost. Here the localhost you are giving. If you are using any IP address, any other environment, you need to give IP address or service name as I said in StreamEasy, right? We are going StreamEasy, we need to give like this. This entire cluster environment, we need to give the IP address like this. So because this is a Kubernetes, right? We need to give the service name is the IP address so that it will be taken care, right? So another important thing is when you are generating the certificate, localhost you need to give. If it is localhost, because when you are generating it will ask some steps like enter the CDN number, name, organization. In that you have to give localhost. Otherwise your Spring Boot application will not work, because Spring Boot application, I created a Spring Boot producer microservice. This will not work. It will give you a problem. If I give bootstrap server localhost, it will not work, right? So that's the reason we need to mainly CDN name. That when you are generating the certificate, you need to enter localhost. That's very important point you have to note it. And run all this comment, right? And then once you've done that, then you are pointing the certificate, right? In the property file, respective property file. If you go there, you can point the certificate, all the certificate points and location, right? And then once we done that, certificate is generated, we need to test our Kafka message is receiving or not in the cluster before going to the application Spring Boot, right? First I will start the Zookeeper. Go here, Windows directory, bin window Kafka installation Windows directory, copy this command and enter that. Now Zookeeper is started. Now go to again another command. We need to start our broker. If you have multiple brokers, we need to start all the brokers. I have only one broker, one Zookeeper. I am starting only one Zookeeper and one broker. Go here, start that. Now our broker is started successfully, right? There should not be any error when it is started. Check that actually. Once you started, then go to create the topic we need to create. You can put a topic like number 6. I created. This is the topic name. You can give any Kloud4academy topic 6, right? And port number is 0. Localhost here, whichever host we are giving, you need to give, and port number and SSL configuration property we need to give. This is very important. Otherwise, you cannot create that, because we are creating this SSL. We are creating the topic in the SSL layer. That's the reason we need to give this way. We need to give client SSL and then partition. How many partition we want? This topic 1 partition or 2 partition. So we can partition the data, right? 1 or 2, 3. The data will be partitioned, so it will be easy to scaling and rebalancing the data in Kafka. And the replication factor. How many replication we want? How many replication we want to copy the data into other brokers? So I am giving only 1 replication by default. You can give more than 3 actually in the in production environment. Copy this and going here and CLS and enter that. Now topic will be created. See here there is error. What is error? Topic 6 is already exist the same. So we are creating topic 7. Copy here. Go here, enter and then enter it. Yeah, now topic is created. Now next thing is I'm going to produce a message. See, localhost. This should be localhost 902 Academy topic 6. So everywhere you have to put this pre-config a client SSL property, because we are communicating through SSL. That's very important. Otherwise it will not work. So I'm going to produce a message, right? This same window I'm using. I'm going to produce a message. I'm just entering hi Kloud4 Academy is one of the best academy in the world. I'm just sending the message like that. So this message I'm sending via produce the message. So that should be received, right? So we have to receive the message through the. We have to receive the message via consumer, right? That's the reason I'm using consumer. This is a file consumer topic name, and SSL needs to give everywhere because SSL via SSL only we are receiving the message. Go here, and this is a consumer, needs to receive the message. See, message is not received. We need to see why message is not received. So just check the broker. Broker is fine. So sending again another message. Hello world. Enter. I'm going here. Topic 7 we are sending, right? Topic 7 consumer config local host 9092 consumer beginning. So here we need to see what message we are given, right? What is the broker we created? 7 only we created. Okay, that's fine. Consumer producer. So sorry, we have to produce a message to 7, not 6. That's why topic is wrong topic they are given. So now I given hello. Kloud4academy is one of the best standard academy in the world. Right? I'm giving. So now if I go to our consumer, the message will be received. See, hello, Kloud4academy is one of the best academy in the world. This is a consumer. Message is received, right? So if I just like that, if I give hello world, if I give hello world, hi guys, now enter. Now I'm going to consumer. Message is received. Hello world, hi guys. So now our Kafka setup is good. So we are good to go to integrate our application, right? Because Kafka is sending the message via SSL and receiving the message via SSL, right? So TLS production, via TLS the message is sending and message is receiving. So our Kafka setup is, SSL setup is done. It's receiving message. Now I'm going to integrate Springboot 3.2. I have installed Springboot 2. I have created the consumer microservice and producer microservice. This is a Kafka producer microservice. The version I can show that pom.xml, go there. Version Kafka Springboot version 3.2, and then if I go to Kafka, this is a Kafka Spring Kafka. This is a dependency we need to use. That's it. There are no other changes, and then Java version 17, right? And I am going to application property. So this property currently is not, I am not configured property based configuration. We can do multiple ways. I am just doing the configuration in the Java class, configure place in Java Spring Boot configuration. From there I am reading that the property values I am reading from there, right? And this is the main class Kafka producer config. So configuration I am receiving the bootstrap server, URL, password one, everything I am receiving. Here I am giving, see, these are the code changes. Property producer factory, means JSON serializer, because basically it's a serializing, message sending serialize. That's why we are not deserializing, serializer. So we are sending the serializer, and if you see that security protocol SSL and certificate name I am giving, so that you can directly get from the property file, or configure the property file itself. I am giving this way, since it's a demo I am just giving this way. Config password is coming from property file, right? And password is decrypting, the decrypting I am using. And Kafka template, just producer factory as an instance I am giving. Kafka template is used to send a message to the producer. Kafka template is nothing but a producer which is sending a message to Kafka cluster. Now I am going to producer, Kafka cluster producer API. This is a Kafka, right? I am going here. So if I see this a Kafka producer, no need to do anything, no changes. Just insert just auto-wire the config Kafka producer config. Send data, just some method writing, and then Kafka config dot Kafka template dot send, that Kafka call the template from this class, and then send the topic name. Give the topic name and data, what data you want to send, you can send it, and data will be sending. So this is what we have done. And if you see the Kafka receiver, Kafka consumer, yeah, now sorry, yeah, now I'm going to show the consumer microservice. If you see the consumer microservice, this is a consumer microservice. This is the same version, same dependency we need to use, and then go to application property, same configuration, no changes. Only config here you have to use consumer factory. Local host I'm just directly hard coding, you can get it from property file, group ID. So this and security, all the same thing, same configuration. So this is like we can use when we are sending the message from producer to consumer, we can use some guarantees like almost, most means is most of the use cases we just sending the message and fire and forgot kind of things, and whether the receiver is receiving or not, it will keep sending the message. So but it will not reliable. Sometimes broker is down, it will not retry the message, retry to sending that, or it will not acknowledge that actually basically. Consumer will not acknowledge. If almost means, it will be guaranteed message. If producer is sending the message, then consumer will receive and store it into the topic, and then it will reply back. So this is kind of banking kind of use cases. You can use that. Message must be received, must send and must receive, right? So like that, guaranteed. And message ID important, like it should not duplicate receive message, should not be received by the consumer. Then there are multiple configuration like ID important configuration. Those configuration you can set it in the consumer as well as in the producer factory when you are sending that message, right? So though all property file you can set it. So these kind of things we can do that, right? So now I have written on web service, so that web service will just send the message actually. I'm just going here. I'm just going here. This is a web service, send topic. So hi Kloud4 Academy. I'm just sending hi Kloud4 Academy. Send it. Now the messenger, if you see the logs, now message are sent. Go to consumer. Oh sorry, server is not started. When your server started, there should not be any error. That we have to make sure that there should not be any error. Right? No error. Now means certification, everything we configure. Paka. Right? Or start receiving the message. That's fine. And go to producer. Kafka producer. So there should not be any error. I will starting the producer. Sorry, I am just saying producer. Kafka producer. Some Kafka internal error. That's like you can leave it. Okay, now I'm just going to once again we will stop the consumer and we will keep only producer. Okay, so both are stopped. Okay, now producer is started successfully. So I'm going to start the consumer. I'm going to start. Without producer I started consumer, that's why I got my error message. Now consumer is started. Now producer is going to send message. Hi Kloud4academy. Send it. Come here. This is our consumer. Go here. Message are received or not, check. No message due to group ID is not received. Message is not received. We need to see. Here is received. Hello, hi guys. No message is not received. I'm just checking why it's not received. Consumer exception. What is exception? Just stopping that and seeing then one message. Why it's not receiving? I think consumer ID topic ID is correct. We'll see what topic ID we gave. 6, sorry, topic is 7. Topic ID is wrong, that's why. We need to give the right topic, right? We have created the topic 7, right? So now start the producer. Go here. Start the producer. I started the producer. Now go to consumer. Start the consumer. Consumer also started. Okay. Now producer is sending the message. Hi Kloud4. Guys, the error is actually the topic number is 7 here. I am giving the topic consumer receiver. We have to annotation Kafka listener. That is the annotation we need to do in the consumer microservice. Right? Kafka listener. At Kafka listener topic name we have to give 7 and group ID message log. Just logging the message. That's it. So now consumer will work actually. Other thing is we have to see the application property correct topic we are given. Right? Otherwise it will give the problem. Right? So let's see. We will see now it will work or not. Now I start the consumer. Okay, consumer. Yeah, I think now consumer is fine. Started. I'm going to send a message like hi Kloud4acadeny. I send it. See, message is received. Hi Kloud4academy. Received, right? If I see producer also it will send the message. This message producer is sending, and consumer, if I open consumer microservice, it will receive the message. Let's say I'm giving the big message. Hello, Kloud4academy build best students in the world, something like that. I put enter. So now I'm going here. See, hello Kloud4academy build the best students in the world. Okay. Even you can see the consumer, this here also it will receive. See, hello Kloud4academy build best students in the world. Hi Kloud4academy. All the messages are coming received. Right? Even if you are sending from application, console will receive the message. So this is what we have done the setup in Kafka. So this is where the application we can integrate this latest version, Springboot latest version we can integrate. So we are showing this, we are covering this session as part of our course number 1, course number 2, course number 3, Springboot microservice or AWS cloud computing or Node.js microservice. So we will be covering this Kafka, how we are setting that. And next session, please watch our YouTube channel for further technical videos and further how we can set up the Streamy Kafka cluster in Minikube node. We will show the next demo, right? So we are looking forward to join our Kloud4academy. Thank you for listening.